Hi there, welcome back to Not Another Budget. I'm Nicole, and on this channel I'm attempting to cash budget my way out of debt and fix several years of financial misbehaviour, and during the first quarter of 2025 do a very kind of deep dive, in-depth savings focus before I go on to really start tackling the aforementioned debt that I need to deal with. And that is because if you've been around here for a couple of years or so, you will know that I have definitely encountered Murphy's Law, Sod's Law, bad things happen in threes, all sorts of things. And whilst I haven't gone into further debt, I've not had the money behind me in terms of savings to deal with things that pop up expectedly or unexpectedly, really. And therefore that has kind of halted any meaningful progress that I've ever tried to make. Now, yes, I do need to deal with my debt. I'm fully aware of that, but I am trying to give myself this first quarter of the year, so January, February and March, to get just something behind me as a bit of a cushion before I then start factoring in debt payments into my monthly budget and what that looks like going forward as well. So this is going to be my proposed budget for February. Now, as with all things, this is a really good time for people who budget if you like doing like I do. I love doing like the nerdiness of the breakdown, and I say that as someone who also loves spending. You can be both a bit of a financial nerd who loves doing a budget and likes looking it into possibilities and planning things out, as well as spending money. But for some of us in the budgeting community, doing budgets can be really challenging, and they can also be just sitting down and doing the budget itself can be a bit of a block. And quite often we do fall into the traps of doing a kind of metaphorical self beat up because we might forget something, or we change a plan, or we should have anticipated something that we had no way of anticipating, and therefore why didn't we know that, and oh gosh, we're awful at what we do. And this is a narrative that I deliver to myself, and I'm trying really hard to break that mold. So I say proposed budget because although January is a literally dead on 4-week calendar month, and it's from a teaching perspective, there's a whole week where I don't have to drive into work and do things, and there is lots of opportunities within the month for things to happen. Equally, that's also a week where I might want to try and do that whole work-life balance thing and go and do something social, or maybe do an additional outing, obviously health permitting. So I'm going to show you my proposed budget for February in full acknowledgement and holding my hands up and say there will probably be some changes along the way as we go. But before I even show you the beautiful spread, which is month 2, and I am actually looking and thinking how I can actually tweak this planner to make it available as a 6-month hard copy planner with some additional sheets, because having now worked with it for a month, there's definitely tweaks and things I want to make. This was a planner which I designed and printed myself, very much for my usage, but as I'm going through and I'm working with it, I'm kind of identifying things that I want to add in. One of the things I've not added in is just a monthly summary page, which I think I'm going to feel the loss of. Now, this video is coming out before my January week 4 and week 5 reconciliation, so there are some notes, so there will be a bit of crossover of information, but I feel like it is useful for me to go ahead and bring in before we reveal the month itself. Now, I haven't done, and this is the last day of January, so I've not done the small change count up that I accumulated across last week and this week. So rather than trying to squeeze it in, I'm just going to roll this, whatever this is, into February and carry that forward. So I will be starting February with some small change to go into that fund. And I'm going to leave £13 of the rollover that I've got definitely in my account. In reality, what I've done is I've left all of my card-based rollover in. I was toying with, do I go out today, take the difference out and have it as cash, but I just haven't felt well today. I'm definitely being punished for slightly overdoing it yesterday from a lung asthma perspective, and I'm just a bit weak and wobbly today, we'll put it that way, a bit delicate and gentle. And So I did want to leave £13 in there just so I've got a nice even 2,000, because my wage is 1,987, which is really frustrating. I want the roundness of 2,000. Actually, I've left all of that in there, but yeah. And also something which you will see in my January budget is when I first got the student loan payment in, I did a little bit of like impulsive clothes shopping in Sainsbury's, and I actually went and returned the whole lot. Because it was impulsive. There was nothing there that I needed, considering I then went to, and I know Primark isn't great, I then went to Primark and a couple of other stores the next day. And full disclosure, I love Sainsbury's clothing. I think they're quite good, but I got other things that were nicer for cheaper, and I returned the lot. And I had paid for that on a Sainsbury's gift card, which I'd purchased via Jam Donut, which is an instant cashback site, which goes into a little pot. And when you hit £10 in cashback, you can withdraw that to your account, or you can redeem it for another voucher. And because I'd purchased that to get the cashback, and then had a voucher, it therefore meant I got the refund as a voucher itself. So it's on a Sainsbury's gift card, as in a physical gift card. And I'll either use cash, or I will actually go ahead and purchase another kind of voucher, cashback voucher for the month for the food, groceries, whatever, and that's where that goes on. So there is that, which is carrying forward as well. I've already got about 50 Vinted drafts. I want to go ahead and activate those listings, and then I want to try and photograph more and get those photographs, which take the time, done while I am in this period of being off sick, and seeing where I go from, because I do have a really good opportunity with February being a shorter month where my wage itself pretty much covers everything and then some. That it gives me a really good opportunity to actually try and capitalize on getting stuff listed and sold, now that a 5-week month for most people is out of the way when spending is typically down. I'm toying with the idea of a low budget food month. That's not what I've gone ahead and done. I'd initially put £30 a week, but I am unwell. Therefore I am at home, and I'm obviously eating slightly different things because I'm not feeling great, and we have the half term as well. And then I've put a question mark as to whether I boost up the outings fund as the priority in terms of my savings. Again, that's a question mark there. And I've also put a question: do I put off Bowie's blood tests and thyroid meds to March if I can? Because if you've seen my last video, what I think I've done is I don't think I have worked out how much I need to put aside for him to be a month ahead on a mini fund correctly. That is because he also needs and is due the thing that I want to put aside the money for. So do I go ahead and pay that and then start that fund a little bit later, or do I try and go ahead and save more into that? I don't know yet. Like I said, it's been an admin heavy day so far because I've been sofa bound and weak and wobbly, and that's just very much a question mark at this stage. Thank you so much. Thank you. Well, while I have been weak and wobbly and ground to the sofa, what I have gone through and started to do is make sure that everything is getting ready for, hopefully, what I'm still on track for, which is a physical product launch, and I guess a relaunch of Not Another Budget products this weekend in the shop. I don't know whether it's going to be a Saturday or a Sunday launch at this stage. It very much depends on where I get to, but I have been working hard and also have some potentially some new little things that may be coming your way. It depends where we get on. But my January spread, which is month 2, is icy blue. And I just want to take you through what this month looks like. Now, my month is running from a Friday to a Thursday, and it is literally Friday to Thursday. I've gone through and plotted in things where I know initially I want to do a video release and where I know I've got things planned. So I have got a friend visiting. She may be staying over on Friday. It depends how I am. And Mum is coming over and she's like, I'm going to help you do some housework because you're not running I'm like, no, Nicole, you're not going to be running around doing a hoover and spraying stuff. No. And I've also got a doctor's appointment tomorrow. There is going to be a video release tomorrow. That is going to be the January week 4 and 5 roundup, and then I want to do a video on Sunday that may be something to do with the physical product release. I'm not sure, and at the minute there is an estimated launch date on Sunday, and you can see there I want to try and move to to videos there. At the minute, I am signed off from work until Tuesday, but this doctor's appointment will determine whether that is going to roll over into this week. Based on the fact that I moved some things into my, and by things I mean cardboard, into my garage yesterday and picked up some InPost parcel lockers and tried to swap laundry over, and it's wiped me out today. It's not looking ideal. So whether I am back in work around here and here, we'll see. Again, I just can't call that. Like, we'll wait and see what happens. Mum's birthday, I told you it comes up quick after Christmas. I have Mum's birthday on the 13th and Dad's birthday on the 20th. Now, what I don't know, because they tend to be around a weekend, is if they will probably want to do something. And on top of obviously birthday gifts and stuff like that, I am not about to... if we say they want to go to a National Trust property, I'm not about to make the birthday boy or birthday girl pay for my coffee and cake, for example. So there's things like that. And to be fair, that's where they're at. I've also gone through a marked out half term because health permitting, that's a really good opportunity for me to go through and try and identify, right, I know I want to do some car boots as soon as they open up again. What do I want to do as car boot stock? What's the big things that I want to pull out and list and photograph? How's that looking? And also I really do actually want to try and do some like social things in here somewhere. Obviously health and finances permitting. So try and have a bit of balance to my life that's not just illness and school. Now, I'm going to try and zoom you in without actually cutting everyone off. There we go. Okay, that looks like that's as much as we can do. Now, in terms of my focus for week 1, which runs Friday the 31st of January to Thursday the 6th of February. I want to try and get the physical product launch done, and then I want to try and have 40 active Vinted listings. So me activating those drafts and then also building up a batch of drafts. That's because if I do end up back in work, I will lose the daylight by the time I get home, and then my weekends will be potentially taken. So I want to make sure I've got a batch of photographs that I can just sit there and activate throughout the day. Ideally, I'm looking at maybe between 5 and 8 listings activated per day, realistically. In terms of finances, now the rollover here is the little bit of cash that I had in my cash in terms of notes that I had in my purse, and then a bit in my bank account as well. It doesn't include this here, so I know that rollover is going to be slightly different. The Sainsbury's gift card rollover was £80 and 10p. The January rollover I've got to account for. The cashback from that aforementioned spend was £23 from Giant Donut, so I have pulled and requested that in, and my wages are £1,987.36. So my actual income is going to be slightly higher because I have got this, but we're working on £2,139.46, and just those couple of little extra things really has kind of given the budget a bit of breathing room on top of a 4-week month. Now, my rent, I am already 1 month ahead on this, but I will go through tomorrow when I get paid and pay my rent. And so I will continue to pay it as though I am not 1 month ahead, but in reality, I am. That's £950. That does not change. That's every single month until April, and then we'll find out in April whether it's going up or staying the same. My car tax, because this does cross over into next week, and any direct debits or payments that are due around the 1st or 2nd, they will call for and process on Monday or Tuesday. So my car tax is £16.66, but I do a small roundup for ease of maths, so that's £17. My February mobile is £16, my Spotify is £12, my YouTube Premium is £13, my Google storage is £2.49, my Microsoft is £6, and my Wi-Fi is £32. So a large chunk of my bills already goes out, and as you can see there, the majority of it is my rent, and that is £1,048.49. So I have a rollover of £1,090.97. Ordinarily, if I didn't have the money that I'd rolled over and was just working with my wages, it wouldn't be that much. Now, this will go into the outings fund. So this here is going to appear down here. But what I've done at the minute is I don't know what I've got coming in from Vinted. I don't know what I'll receive if I'm lucky enough and fortunate enough to make any orders of physical products and stuff. So that is not accounted for. Anything like that pops in tends to go up here, and then we zoom it all the way down and it sits and fills in here. And then when I obviously reintroduce debt payments at some point, they will also filter down and go into there. So for now, there is nothing coming out into the savings for now that's appearing on here as I've written it down. The flexible expenses, Bowie I'll need to do some medication for him. This is just his heart medication. It's not his thyroid, and it's not a blood test appointment. So I'm trying to see. There is room within this month's budgets where if I have to go ahead and pay for it, I can do, but I'm trying not to while he's still got medication and while we are fine. But his normal heart meds are just shy of £80. Food I'm putting as a flat £40 a week. Whether I spend £40 a week or whether I do a larger shop one week and a significantly smaller shop another, it doesn't matter. I've allowed the equivalent of £40 a week. So if, for example, this week it's £60 and next week it's £20, that is absolutely fine. It will all even out in the wash. I do have a good amount of food in my freezer because I've not really been eating it, and in my pantry cupboards as well. So I will not be rushing out to go and do a big shop or a food shop. Although gone are the days when £40 could give you a big shop. Now it's 2 bags basically. Fuel is £20. Like I said, I've not done any driving to work. There is obviously my town close by, which if my friend does come to visit, I will hopefully I'm healthily enough to kind of enjoy showing her the nooks and the crannies away from the tourist stuff, but that's not a big drive at all, and there is that there. So fuel, I've just put a nominal £20, and that's to try and keep it topped up. Bowie's food is going to be £15. We haven't yet run out of his medicated food, but his vet recommended veterinary specialist food. I will need to do an order for that at the end of the month, but I haven't yet run out of that. This is the dry food and the treats that he can have. Household and toiletry is £10. I'm trying something new with this where I set £10 a week. Again, with the costs of these going up, me wanting to get my face cream on offer, some feminine hygiene products and some bleach, is that £10 gone, which never used to be the case. And then my personal spending is £50, and that is an acknowledgement that I tend to wait most of my spending around when I get paid, and I think that's just a money behaviour thing. I have done an awful lot of spending in the past couple of weeks across both gifts for other people and some treats for myself, so I'm aware of that, but I am a little bit of a magpie. If I see shiny, if I see nice, if I see stationery, if I see bags, if I see boots, if I see shoes, it's like I touch something and it feels really nice. This is where the nerdy spender side comes in. So I do tend to weight my spending money and give myself most of it at the start of the month around payday. And if you find that really helpful for you to do as well, if you're struggling with the fact that you are a spender and you need to, you're trying to set yourself, say, £25 a week or £20 a week, and you're just exceeding it, try and give yourself most of your spending around payday and then see what happens. It's just worth a try. Therefore, we actually have quite a small weekly flexible expense amount, £215, giving me a rollover of £875.97. And then we go into week 4. Now, again, I want to try and maintain 50 Vinted drafts. That just gives me that thing to do, and I want to make sure I'm listing aggressively, and I've put a question mark over whether I start up eBay again. This week runs from the 17th to 13th of February, and I don't like eBay. I don't like eBay buyers. I don't like eBay as a platform. I don't like eBay as customer service. I don't like their fee structure. I don't like the way they handle their payments, but I do have some things where actually eBay is a better platform for them. So maybe I'll try it there. We don't know. We'll see. I can't rule it out. I do need the destashing and the aggressive selling of possessions, whether I stay in my house or not, needs to happen. And this is a good quarter to get that done. I don't think, because of where we've got that my week running Friday to Thursday. I don't believe I've got any bills coming out this week. And as you can see, anything that I pull in from, say, a Vinted or a coffee sale or anything like that will go down and filter in here. I haven't forgotten the fact that I have also got to draw £100 in from coffee and go back into the budget as well. Milk Tea Chilled commented today and was like, did you realise that you can get Canva for free as an educator? And I was like, fudge balls. No, I did not. So I know now for next year. There we go. Live and learn. Canva's free if you're a teacher, guys. Just send them proof you're a teacher, apparently, and it will save you £100. And I didn't do that. And then there we go. There we go. Okay, moving on. Thanks, Milk Tea. Thank you. In terms of this week, spending, just, it's there, nominal £25. If I spend this in week 1 and I don't spend anything this week, it's fine. If I spend it in week 3 and do whatever, it's just there, it's in the budget, it's budgeted for. Bowie's food, £15, fuel of 20. Again, I don't know if I'm whacking work this week. Toiletry and household is £10, and then food is 40. So therefore that is £110 weekly spend and £765.97. We then move into week 3, and my week 3 goes across most of the half term. So I want to try and split out what is car boot stock, what is Vinted stock, what is eBay making stock, things like that. I want to try, and this is all health permitting, by the way. I want to try and spring clean the conservatory and the garage. I want to have a big listing time, and then I want to try and put in some like impromptu day outs as it's the half term, like weather permitting. I want to be able to just call a friend and go, shall we just drive to here, and know that I've got something set aside for it. I'm aware that I'm building up an outings quote unquote fund with a mix of day trips and things like that. At the minute, I'm not pulling from that fund. I have a thing in my head where I want to try and get it to a £300 balance before I then start using it for things like this. But obviously, in the meantime, I do want to go ahead and do things like this. So it's that real catch-22, whereas budgeters, you kind of have to decide that you're saving for something which you're want to do that's coming up, but also you kind of doing those things already. So what do you go ahead and do? And I don't think, unless you have a significant surplus of income, it's a question that can be easily answered. In terms of bills coming out this week, gas and electric is 50 and my water is 50, and that is £100. And again, like I've said, anything that comes in from Vinted, etc., Ko-fi, we'll see how that lies and what goes where. And in terms of flexible expenses, a little bit more going on because, like I said, it is that half term. So I've boosted up my personal spending for this week. Also, like I've said, parents' birthdays fall around here. They may choose to do something. There is a weekend in the middle here where a birthday activity could happen, and that will cover obviously my things towards that. Food again, flat 40. Fuel is again 20. Toiletry / household is 10, and then cat food will be when I need to do his specialist wet food order, and then I've put a question mark for half-term activities, £100. I don't know if this is something I'm going to do, something I'm going to use, something I'm going to need, something I use all of, some of, half of, none of. I've just put it in there just in case. If I don't use it, what is likely to happen is you may actually see it down here as a saving towards outings or whatever thing that I'm focusing on at that time. But it's in there up here just in case someone impromptu goes, oh, it's a really nice day, I'm driving here, do you want to come? And I go, yeah, actually I will. We'll see. I don't know. So £270 spend, and then we go into week 3 with a £395.97 rollover. So this whole time, Bowie's costs being if he needs a blood test, and if they're going to be funny and insist on a blood test and insist on thyroid medication, which is £220. I've tried to keep that there all the way through. So I've given myself room for movement within my personal spending and within like half-term activities, etc., where if I need to pull that from my earned income in terms of wages, so nothing extra in terms of Vinted or things like that, I can pull it up there right until the end of the week. So this is the second half of half-term. I want to try and do more listings, push sales as much as possible, which I hate saying. It just basically means that, like, keep stock in the shop, and then admin and organising as we approach the end of the month. And this is the 20th to the 27th. My car insurance is going out. You will see in January week 5 that when I rang to try and move the payment date of that to the end of the month, because at the minute it was sitting in the middle, I was able to do that, but I had to pay an additional month, and I had to pay an admin fee. So I just went ahead and paid that, because long term ease, it just moves it to the end of the month around payday. It's fine. What I have then done for the first time is I have whacked some of this, assuming that I don't need to pay for things for Bowie. I have whacked some of this into an outings fund, and I want to try and get that boosted. This is the Duke of Edinburgh, the hiking school trip, day trip, catch-all fund, which is why it's down as outings, and I want to try and hit a minimum balance in there of 300, 150 by the time I factor in small change, and I think where I'm up to gets me to that point, on top of obviously no additional money saved in there and other plans that I have throughout half term. Therefore, I'm rolling over £188.97. I've whacked it at the end because, again, I don't know if I'm going to get away with not putting him forward for a blood test and a thyroid medication. In terms of his health so far, he is not stressed. He doesn't need to be bundled into a carrier and stressed out at the vets to be poked about, and his medication is lasting. So there we go. In terms of the rollover, again, food flat 40, toiletry and household is 10, cat food, so normal dry food and treats £15. Spending is 25, fuel is 20, and then I've just put like a just question mark for a final half term amount of 30, giving me a total of £140, maybe or maybe not to spend. And then a rollover going into March of £48.97, because if I can try and take, and I know it's silly, £2,000 or more, there's something weird mentally that I'm attaching to that number at the minute. So if I can try and carry forward a balance of £2,000 and have that to work with for March is a longer month, and that outings fund does need to be set and done by the end of that month, basically, possibly realistically maybe the beginning or the middle. So that is something which I will have to deal with, and then it will have to be rebuilt back up again. This whole budget doesn't factor in any money that I may get from Vinted or from eBay or from Coffee or from car boot sales or yard sales or Facebook Marketplace sales. It doesn't factor in anything like that. So it doesn't factor in the fact that I'm also going to be building up my savings externally to the income sources that I've listed so far, if I can. I know that a fair few people will rightfully be going into the comments going, what about your debt? What about your debt? And yes, this is where it is uncomfortable. The right thing for me to do is to, while my minimums are on pause and everything is kind of fine there, and while I have that window, it helps if you have a mental breakdown and you need to speak to them basically and go, I can't deal with you right now, and here is why. Some can be decent while they're on that pause, and I got a 6-month pause basically from all collections and interest accruing and no minimum payments expected. That's what happened in October. Which is why I've got this first quarter to try and focus on this. Like I said, I'm aware that my debt is in the background. I'm aware that it is growing. I just need to try and get some savings behind me. The savings that I have got behind me are not physical, easy to access cash, and that was done on purpose. And if I take you to a sneak peek for other months, I've gone ahead and I have slightly reordered. This is a sneak peek for a further video that's coming up. I've moved the outings fund to priority number 1, and that is because I do have the Duke of Edinburgh Practice Expedition coming up at the end of March. At the minute, my attendance on that is not fully confirmed, and but I can't rule out that I may have a change of heart and feel slightly more amenable towards things. And the Bowie Fund is the one that I have got to just try and I think redo the maths on, maybe. So at the minute, the focus for February is to try and get the Outings Fund as boosted as much as possible. Although it is £300. What I am doing is going through and working on it via the 365-day penny challenge. So any physical notes that I put in, I will also take from this. Don't get me wrong, it would be fantastic if I could get, 660, the dream to complete this, not in a year. £667.50, I believe, is the total amount of this challenge. And thank you to the commenter who commented on my video from yesterday, reminding me that I'd actually I was very delirious. I was not okay. And basically went, yeah, you rounded down to £3 and it was £3.80 because you weren't sure. So there was 80p and there was something that rolled off under the table. I've retrieved the thing from under the table. And as you can see here, ignore the 81p. I started colouring in the wrong thing. I have gone and crossed off that little 80p on there as well. So you can see how this is growing quite nicely. And I believe that I can definitely get to the £300 goal at the end of February, but actually it can't hurt to keep it going and growing and take the pressure off going forward. At the end of February, we will review other savings plans and goals just as things stand now, with me not being overly well and still trying to kind of get to grips with everything that I have planned and done. I'm not yet at the point where I can clearly think about what I'm going to do with other savings categories and stuff like that, mainly because I hadn't expected to do a lot. And then something came along and it put me in a tizzy and it was fantastic. And now I'm like, oh, sugar, what do I do next? So this is my, thank you very much. This is my week 2 budget, month 2 budget in February. We're going in a good, strong position, and I am tired, so I don't really feel like I want to do a lot financially. I know that how you feel and what you do is 2 completely different things, but it's certainly not, as I sit here recording, a month where I'm like eagerly awaiting money to land in my account so I can do all of the things all of the time. Yes, I have earmarked a couple of things on Vinted that I would like to purchase for myself. It's not going to use up all of my personal spending money, and if they sell between now and tomorrow, it's fine. I hope you've enjoyed this. Let me know your thoughts and comments down below. As always, if I don't respond to them, please don't take it personally. I'm that unorganised of a person in my daily life, so I try and go through and heart them as much as I can. Or if you are Milk Tea Chilled, who ever so helpfully informed me that I could have saved £100. No, it's fine. It just shows you I really wasn't well. I really, really was not well, because stuff like that I'm all over, like, looking for and finding. So there we go. I know for next year, if nothing else. Yeah, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you've got any ideas about savings and stuff, the Outings Fund does. Outings is the wrong title for it, but it's just all I could think of at the time. It suggests like I'm going out being a social bunny every weekend, having like unlimited prosecco lunches and brunches. I'm not. It's just a catch-all for 4 or 5 different things, basically. That does have to be the priority immediately because of the things I've got coming up that need that fund. Otherwise, it's a massive drain on my normal income and I can't afford it. But if anything else apart from that, just let me know your thoughts down below. One thing I am struggling over and can't quite get my head around because I am tired and sick is have I done my maths wrong on Bowie's fund? Do I need to make that 600, 300 for the immediate spend for the thing that he needs, and then 300 for the next one? Let me know your thoughts down below. At this point I don't have a right or wrong answer, so I am opening up the comments to suggestions. Silly suggestions like don't spend money and don't do things over half term. Jog on. Not here for it. No, Nicole is a nerdy spender, and she spends and she be a nerd. And on that note, to the rest of my nerdy spenders out there, I'm going to love you and leave you. Have a fantastic budgeting week wherever you are in the world, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye for now.